Oh, hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on the podcast, I have Kirsten Fowler, who is an author of Family Faith and A Fragile Ex. Yes, she is, how can I put it? She is a character, to say the least.
It's true.
Kirsten, how are you today? Hmm.
I'm doing pretty well. You've brightened my day, that's for sure.
What can I say? I'm here to please. I'm here to please. You, milady, like I got, as I say, you are a bit of a character. Yes, fun out there, like yes, artistic, musical, and yes, impersonation here and there. Like like dare I say it, like you embody the like absolute spirit of Christmas coming up. Like dare I
Aw,
say,
that makes me happy.
no worries. You're hardly Grinch-like at all.
No, I love Christmas. I'm so excited. I love this season.
Yet you even like singing about it. Yes. I
I
mean,
do. No.
yes. Oh my Lord. I have to ask before we get to your book, like what were you doing before you were like a mother, author, and yes, how can I say, comic impersonator and
You flatter me. Yeah, so
yeah,
I was
damn
just
Ramsey.
yeah. I liked journalism. I used to write for lots of newspapers. I was in ballroom dance. I loved to dance, and then I met the love of my life, and we had kids, and my life just changed forever in a good way. But it's been hard too, and but I like to laugh through it all, so that's why I'm kind of goofy.
No, I wouldn't say you're goofy at all. Look, put it this way: when small children come into your lives, they bring joy, happiness, and the realm of chaos you never experienced before in your life. But yeah,
That is yes.
ah, so you worked for a number of newspapers as a journalist. So, like, yeah, what like was it a case of yes, motherhood called and you decided to leave the world of extra extra, read all about it?
Yeah, so I actually was getting kind of tired of the news part. I didn't enjoy that as much. I really liked the working with people and getting their stories because I feel like everybody has a story. So I really liked that part. But I decided to take a break, and I always wanted to be a mom. So that was always going to be like my number one thing. I've just always wanted to do that. And so when I got married, I actually stopped going to school for a little bit, and then I went back and ended up graduating with I graduated in family sciences actually. So I kind of took a different turn.
Okay.
I know, right? It sounds confusing, but I actually combined both my journalism and like my family science to write for different blogs for like divorce questions and just different things. So it was actually really great. I combined both of my loves. So it was good. It was good.
I see. Like someone who is like, yes, I'm down with marriage, like writing about divorce. Come on now. That's a little bit cliche right there. You're like, It's like,
Yes. Yeah,
uh,
that is a good question. Well, so I was working with one of my professors, and he was concerned about the divorce rate and wanted to help people who were concerned about it. And so he came to me because he knew I liked to write, and together we worked on something. And I actually interviewed my sister, who also has kids with special needs.
uh,
And yeah, and we talked about keeping your marriage strong through having special needs children because a lot of parents who have special needs children get divorced because it's just so hard. And so yeah, so I was trying to help people and help them see that you can stick together even though it's hard. So
I could tell, I could imagine your husband walking in, just walking past the laptop, like, what? That's like, yeah, whoa, 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 whoa. It's like,
Oh, I definitely
just like,
I warned him before.
okay, not just as he walks past, just glare at him.
Yeah. Like I am looking for divorce. No.
Just like,
No, no, no. Yeah.
okay. Look, you like this is the thing. Okay. Everyone goes, yes, family, faith, yes. Fragile X. Because like you mentioned your sister having like kids with special needs. And yes, you have three kids with special needs. You got four in total, but
Right.
them have special needs. Now, people always gonna ask, like, okay, what is Fragile X? Is it a bizarre name for an X-Men? No. But what is it? Yeah.
Yeah, usually when people ask me, because I get it all the time, is it's really related to autism. So when you think of autism,
Mm.
Fragile X can be really similar, but there is differences. One of the main differences that I like to point out is that um, it's a genetic thing, and so carriers are actually affected as well. So I'm a carrier, so I have different health issues that I experience as well. And because it's genetic, it ends up being in the family, so it affects the whole family. My all of my sisters are carriers, and we have several Fragile X kids in our family overall, and also in our extended family. And so, yeah, it's a big deal that way, but mostly it's we deal with behavioral issues like aggression and things like that. And there's also like cognitive delays. They struggle in school and things like that. But the males usually do worse just because it's a genetic thing on the X chromosome. And because the boys only have that X, they have the X and Y, kind of get into genetics. Anyway, the boys usually have it worse. So it's kind of unfortunate that way, but
Yeah, because like this is the thing. Did your family know Fragile X was at like with you guys from like the like when you were a child, or was it a case of when one member of the family had it, it was like all of a sudden like, oh there.
yeah, that's basically how it went. So my sister, she had a son, and we were seeing that he had delays, and she went through lots of different testing and finally figured out when he was about 3, I think, that he had Fragile X.
Mm.
And then we figured out, okay, this is a genetic thing. And so my dad got tested, and we figured out who all the carriers were and all of that. So I actually found out when I was 16 years old that I was a carrier. So yes, so some people think I'm a little crazy still having kids, but yeah, that's where the faith part comes in my book.
Yeah,
um,
because you do bring up a valid point. Because if you found out when you were 16, there'll be some
yeah.
people like going, "Hi, what? Yeah, what you like? Yeah, you like you're still gun ho for having kids, like." And you mentioned faith just a moment ago. Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Yes. Yeah, so I feel like children, whether they have special needs or not, are, supposed to be on this earth, and they're welcome on this earth. And I feel like if they're important to have life, when they're adults, like, because we have lots of adults that have special needs. I think, well, if they're worthy enough to have life, so is my baby that's unborn, even though they have special needs. And that's kind of my faith-based view. I know there's a lot of people that have different views, and I'm okay with that. And I respect everybody's views, because it gets complicated, and it's really hard, and it's a hard decision to make when you're a carrier. So I just let everybody have their own choices, but I did write my book about my own choices and how I based it on my faith in God and my faith in Christ, and how he's helped me through it all.
No, you know what? Like this is the thing. Having faith in God, having faith in a higher power, it's like provides great comfort for many a person. And that, but
Yeah.
like this is the thing. Like it's one of those things where when one's being tested, and especially at the age of 16, where you know what I mean. Let's just say when we're in our mid-teens, we're idiots through and through. It's like yeah. Like how did you sort of reconcile with that back then?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard. I don't think you can really realize what your life would be like because of your choices. If, like, I don't think I fully understood what my life would be like, especially at 16. I realized that there was other options. I knew I could adopt. I knew I could try, in vitro and those other things. But as I got married, well, first of all, I told my husband before
Mm.
he was my husband, I was like, this is what I have. Like, this is, I gave him the chance to walk out. He stayed with me. Um, and then that's just the decision that we came to together, that we just wanted to try naturally to have children of our own and accept God's will concerning it and
Mm.
do our best to raise them. So, yes, it's been hard, and yes, I've been judged, and I understand why. But everybody has their own choices, and I love my kids no matter what. I adore them.
Mm. Like, why do you think, okay, people have like brought down judgment on you for your decisions? Do they give you, have you actually had the opportunity to have a conversation with someone about this, or is it just from the distance?
I mean, a little bit, yes. I've had people come out and say, "Oh, well, it was your fault." Just playing out, say things like that, and I'm like, "Okay, like I get why you feel that way, but I don't like to think of it that way." And I know that other people in the Fragile X community will say, if you have a child, you get it tested while it's in the womb, and then if it has Fragile X, you abort. And some of us do, and some of us don't. It's just like I said, it's such a personal decision.
Yeah, but like this is the thing. One of the things I didn't realize, it is a lot more common than you would think it is.
Oh yeah, it's way more common. I'm so surprised more people don't know about it. It's sad.
Because like I was doing a little bit of cursory research, and it was like, yeah, uh, depending where you go, it's like, yeah, one in 2,500 to 4,000, one in
Mhm.
800. Like it's a little bit
Yeah, there's a
unclear.
little
Yeah,
variation.
but yeah, but that is still quite more common than I would expect, you know?
Oh yeah, I think a lot of times when there's families that have multiple diagnoses of autism, I always tell them you should get checked for Fragile X because it's probably what it is. Not always, but a lot of times it is the number one known cause of autism in families. So, and as far as carriers go, especially female carriers, I think the rate is like one in every 200 or 250 women. So
Okay.
like that's a lot of people, and
Mm.
um, we're predisposed to certain autoimmune disorders and a lot of different like anxiety and depression disorders. And I think that might be a contributor to why there's so many women that deal with those things, is there's actually that genetic component that nobody knows about. So
Mm. Mm. No,
it definitely needs to be more put out there and advocated for.
yeah. Like with you mentioned some autoimmune like symptoms that ladies like have. Like, how did that manifest for you? Just in case there might be someone listening and go, wait a second.
Yeah, so it's, well, not that stress isn't toxic for everybody, but stress for us carriers is a huge toxin in our lives, and it kind of expedites the process. And in my life, because I have three kids with Fragile X, it's compounded my health issues. And so as time has gone on, I've realized I've been diagnosed with lupus and fibromyalgia and Hashimoto's, and I've been checked for MS several times, um, and then anxiety and depression and all of those things. And so, yeah, like there's a lot of issues that come about, and so I try to keep my life as stress free as possible, but it's a little difficult. I always say that Fragile X is so unfair because everything just kind of compounds on each other. You have these kids and you're expected to take care of them, but yet you're dealing with health issues, and they only get worse as the stress goes on. And then there's actually something called FAXTAS that you can get when you're older as a carrier, and it's like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's mixed together, and people will just degenerate and die from that, and yet still have children that have Fragile X that need to be taken care of. So I just think it's just the cruelest
Oh,
thing. Yeah, I know it's really sad. But
No,
Did you
please.
have a question?
Oh, no, no, please continue. No, no, yeah, you.
Oh, I just realized there's another thing. It's called fax poi. That maybe some of your listeners would know, maybe as a if they're wondering if they are a carrier. So if they have issues with infertility, or if they're going through premenopause at like a really early age,
Mm,
things like that, that's a sign of being a carrier. So,
my God. Like, because, like, don't get me wrong. Like, okay, to know you're a carrier and, like, basically, like, let's put the kids to the side one moment and to have that go, okay, right. You being a carrier comes with XYZ symptoms,
mhm.
and that could possibly equal a combination between Parkinson's and Alzheimer's at the end of your days. Like, I have to ask, like, it's one of those things which there are things what test, like, there are things what test our metal. There are things what test our beliefs, our faith, like on a regular basis. Like,
Yeah.
when you got all of that and they told you all of this, like, how did that, like, sort of combination of that news sort of like affect you in regards to like this is possibly my future?
It's scary, honestly. And with my anxiety that I already have, it's a constant worry. And I watch for signs all the time that it may be coming. Um, but when I was 16, that was one thing that I didn't fully understand. And honestly, a lot of the doctors didn't really understand either,
Hmm.
because Fragile X is, well, it's not new, but they're really still doing research on it. And a lot of the things with carriers, they're just barely, getting the tip of the iceberg. And so all of these things as a carrier maybe would have, if I would have known before, maybe would have had more bearing on my choice to have kids, because I want to be able to take care of my kids, right? Um, but it's been really hard. And I watch my aunts and uncles who are affected by it, and some of them are having those fax task symptoms. And my dad is starting to have dementia, and so we're worried about him. And if your dad has it, then you're more likely to have it. And like all of these things, as time goes on. And if you have like neuropathy, which I do, or sleep apnea, which I do, those are signs that you're more likely to have fax tasks in the future. Um, but yeah, it's difficult, and it's challenged my faith, and hardcore.
No.
um, yeah, but at the same time, I think it's made me stronger, and my faith in God has actually increased, because the only way I can get through things is that faith,
Mm.
to know that, what, everything's in his hands, everything's gonna be okay. Like, I can go forward.
I have to ask, has it made you more present in the moment?
Actually, yes. There's been a few times where I thought I had cancer. There's been a few times where I wasn't sure. I honestly, I don't know how long I'm gonna live. I know that sounds silly, and it's a lot of my anxiety, but I
No
don't
one
feel
knows
like I'm
that.
gonna live to be
Yeah.
an old person.
Oh,
And so, yeah, I do think about it, and I want to make every day with my kids count, and I want to do whatever I can. We talked about, I know we're talking about serious things, but I do love to act. I want to be in a play, before my body decides to totally give out, and I'm on that precipice. I'm like, ooh, I'm so close. When I do too much, I get sick. I just had strep this past week. I get sick really easy, but I want to be in a play. I want to do these fun things still. There's still things that I want to do. And so yeah, I try to live in the moment for sure.
mm. No, I hear you. I hear you. No, because like this is the thing. Like, yeah, with so much going on, with like, well, look, just four kids. Okay, look, let's just say, yeah, I've tangling with one is like a challenge in itself, but four kids. and yeah, three of them having special needs, and like trying to get that time management down is a tricky thing. And yes, with the anxiety, like it's like, okay,
Yeah.
wow. It's like trying to climb Everest with a yeah,
Right.
with a
Every day.
ball on your back. Yeah. So like, how do you like, I've got to ask, how do you manage to structure your day with regards to like for like small human beings needing your attention, and yeah, like one bigger human being also needing your attention, who is a good dude, you know?
Yes. Very good. Very good. And yeah, it's difficult. Sometimes I feel like I don't manage it very well, honestly. I mean, I can only do so much, but I think usually what helps me is the night before or the morning of. I will think about my day, I will see what I have going on, and I'll say, okay, I think I can get this, and this done. Like I have really realistic expectations for myself. And if I'm not having a very good day that day, then I say, okay, it's a day to rest, and I'll do what I can while I'm just resting. I'll make calls. I'll, write on my computer or things like that. I think the most challenging thing for me lately has been getting my kids their needs in school and in like for their mental health and their medication, like to keep it all straight has just been such a challenge, especially lately because um my son will be changing schools
Oh,
soon because we wanted to try something else for him. He's been struggling. And my daughter, she's 6, so she's in first grade, and she's actually in a regular classroom because she's high functioning. Girls often are, but she still has her struggles, like a lot of struggles still. And I'm wondering now, like, okay, do I keep her in regular? Do I put her in more of a special needs where she's getting more help? And it's just a constant thing where as a parent, you really don't have all the answers and you're expected to. And so, I'm just trying my best every day and trying to keep my head on straight, with appointments and medications and all these different things. I definitely pray a lot. I keep a to-do list on my phone that I constantly am looking at, making sure that I can like, okay, I did this today, I did this. I can't do this today. That's okay. You can wait for tomorrow, That's kind of how I run things. I'm kind of a hot mess mom, honestly. Like we just kind of run around and do what we can. And, I try to make deadlines and whatever else, and we have fun along the way too. We do.
look, you know what? Like, hey, if I could go around life dancing as a penguin on those epic moments, like far be it for me to ever complain. Yeah.
Yeah, I always say you either laugh or cry. I'd like to laugh. So
Mm.
that's what I do.
Okay. I have to ask, like, this is the thing, like, with all things what go on your sort of day to day, what are the sort of like what are the moments what bring you joy, happiness, excitement for the next day, say?
Yeah. Oh, well, I definitely look forward to my time at night when all the kids are asleep, to be honest. But during the day, I'm just saying, like, let's be real here. But during the day, I find joy in just their smiles. They all have such a great sense of humor. There's something about Fragile X. They're just so funny. They all have such a great sense of humor, and I just love them. And my youngest, she's 4, and she's just adorable. She loves to dress up in pretty princess dresses, and she's so shy, so she always has a blanket over her head and is always like peeking out. And she's just got the biggest brown eyes, just the cutest little thing. And so I think their laughter and when they play together, like that makes my day. When we can sit at the table all together, which isn't very often, but
Mm.
sometimes it happens. And I'm just like, this is a miracle, you guys. Like, we're all at the table, even though we're all eating different things because they all have their own, different things that they like, but we're all sitting here and Isaac's on his tablet and Liza's clapping her hands and whatever, but we're there. And it's just, you got to look at the little things that people take for granted every day with their own family. Like, they're huge miracles in my life. And if they're doing good in school, or if they learned how to read a sight word, anything like that. Like, we latch on to those little things and we're just like, yes, this is awesome. And we just get happy about it.
No, I hear you. I hear you. Like, I just like it. Just like, yeah, when they go to sleep.
I know.
Sleep,
It's true
child.
though. Like,
Uh,
oh, that's like when I can rest and be like, it's just me. Like, I don't have any worries. We're good,
it's like we're all eating meatloaf. No, no, no. A little bit bougie there. It's like,
Yeah. No.
it's
We
like,
got goldfish over here, some rice over here. Yeah.
a little bit bougie in their lives, but it's all good. But like, yeah, like, this is the thing. Like, right, how long did it take you to get your book done? Because, okay, four kids, four kids, like a good dude, and like, yeah, and I just basically, yeah, your stuff in general, as well as keeping all the medication straight, coordinating with schools, and yeah, whatever else decides to throw in the mix, you know?
Yeah.
How
That's a
did
good
you write a
question.
book? Yeah. How?
Well, okay. So, first of all, I think we have a caregiver, thankfully. So,
Okay.
we are able to have some people come to the house and they watch the kids sometimes. And it just so happened that last year, when I was really getting into writing, we got this wonderful woman that came into our lives, and she was able to come a lot. And I was able to write while she was there playing with the kids. So, that's key. But also those times at night when I had just my time, I would write, for an hour or two, and I would just, punch it out. Like, I just made a goal and I ended up writing my rough draft in 30 days. And so I got that out and it was published within a year, which is not normal, but yeah, so I was able to get it out within a year. But it was easy to write for me because I love writing and it was just about my life, so I didn't have to like research. It was just me and my stories. So I put it out there.
Okay, like all I've got to say is, what planet did you come? Did you come to Earth on a like, yeah, like spaceship where your former planet just exploded because of the sun?
Yes.
Like,
Don't get me around kryptonite.
yeah, look, because dear God, 30 days. Look, come on, look, I have spoken to people, had conversations about their books where it's taken them at least a good couple of years. There's one lady who managed to do a book in 2 weeks, but that was some other kind of level of focus I cannot go into.
Yeah, that's another level.
But 30 days, goddamn, a rough job,
Yeah.
goddamn.
Yeah, it was crazy and I worked really hard, but I always say like everybody has the same amount of time in the day, and if you really want to do something, like, you can make it happen.
No, I would say this. Everyone, we do all have 24 hours in a day, but it comes down to how we put value towards that 24 hours.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but like with regards to your day, it seems like you might have a buck 45, and that's about it's like it's
It's true. It's true.
capitals.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes my kids would be like watching TV and I'd have my laptop out and I'd just be like furiously writing. And, it was just everywhere I could if I wasn't, helping them. Or, I mean, usually it was like I'd write a paragraph and then Isaac would be like, I need something. I need a bum change. I need some cheese, whatever it was, because they're constantly needing me. And, so it was just like back and forth, like consistency. Like, I had to keep coming back to my computer,
Yeah,
and it took a lot of focus and like desire. Like, I really was like, I need to get this done. And I've always wanted to write a book, and just the way that my life has turned out thus far, I was like, I need to do this. And, we talked about living in the moment.
Mm.
Like, you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I wanted to get my story out there. So I wanted to help other people. And I'm really raw in my book, which makes it a little hard to read because it's completely honest with all the hard things that I've been through. But I feel like it helps other people feel like they're not alone, which I think sometimes that's all we need.
No, it's a case of we all like the whole thing is so much, especially when it comes to the realms of being a parent. Like, there were so many things where people would like go, oh, this, that, and they paint such a beautiful rosy picture. And like, yeah,
Yeah.
like I was like breastfeeding under this waterfall, and then a dolphin came up to me, kissed me on my cheek, and then yes, like the archangel Gabriel came down and went, yes, you are the chosen one. And they'll give it all of this when it's a case of like, honestly, yeah, your kids screamed at you for 4 hours straight. You couldn't like really deal with it. And yeah, you just like, yeah, you wanted to cry for hours on end. And look,
Mhm.
too many people do the rose and fluff and like the truth, the
Yeah.
absolute truth of it, people try to like, no, it's not. I don't want to hear the truth. I don't want to be near
Yeah.
the truth. But I think there is a need for it, so people know they're not alone in the trenches. And look,
Yeah.
yes, you have kids with special needs, and look, you like, yeah, I'm sure there's been many a day where it's been out of your depth, and there's been days where you've triumphed to like greater levels and like gone, yeah, wow, I've got this even more so. But like even parents without kids with special needs have those moments where it's like, okay, I'm alone here and no one understands what I'm going through. No one is there to support me at this present time. But information books like yourself, like people being honest, people being truthful with their experiences, can hopefully help other people to realize this and yeah, be them parents or not, to like go, yeah, you know what, I am not alone in this like, yeah, crazy wonderful world, you know.
Yeah. They start to feel normal, like, oh, it's not crazy that I'm going through this, and understanding that there's a grief cycle that everybody goes through for different things. And um yeah, and even people that have read my book that don't have kids with special needs, they've gained a lot from it and just told me how much they learned from it. Because I mean, I think as parents we can all really relate, whether it's special needs or not, because all of our kids have challenges. Even my oldest daughter, who doesn't have Fragile X, she presents her own challenges, things that she has to deal with, you know and so I think we're all kind of in this together as parents, and to help each other out as much as possible is fantastic.
Yeah,
So
no, yeah, absolutely. Now, with regards to I imagine, well, you've obviously had the conversation with your like oldest daughter, with regards to options and everything like this. Like, please stop me if this is a little bit too personal, but then did she sort of react to it? Was it similar to how you did as a teenager, or was she like, I have a better understanding?
actually, so she is not a carrier. She is lucky, so she doesn't carry it. She doesn't have it, and so that she does not have to worry about. And I'm really grateful for that. But she has other challenges. I mean, she is the oldest, and all of her siblings have Fragile X.
Mm,
And I think she's seen more than anyone her age ever should, and experience trauma. It just happens when there's so much going on, and there's an aggressive little brother around, and things like that. So she has challenges of her own, having to deal with Fragile X, and not knowing what it's like to have a sibling that is normal. Um, and I think she is an angel, honestly. Like, she helps out so much. But I also I mean, I mentioned in my book how I want her to have her own life. I don't expect her to take care of my kids when she's older. Like, that's not what I want for her. I want her to live her own life. If she makes that choice, that's her choice. But I try to give her opportunities to do things on her own, be her own person. She has her own room. She, is involved in a lot of things in school. She loves plays and singing. And so I try to help her to really have her own life and, have time with her friends. And it's hard because her friends can't often come over to my house, honestly. And so it's hard. It's sad. And I like to be the mom that's fun and have friends over, but it doesn't always work out because my son is always going around in a diaper. And when he's 10, that's not okay when the girls are 11, right? And, things like that. Or sometimes he strips down naked and nobody, like, I don't want her friends to see that, right? Like, that's not cool. I'd have to, like, tell their parents. And so, like, there's just things that happen that it doesn't happen regularly at somebody else's house. So she's often going to other people's houses. And um but yeah, so she has her own challenges, but she's amazing. And she loves her siblings too. She adores them.
No, I hear you. I hear you. But yeah, I can only imagine because like this is the thing when like quite often when you see kids when they're kind of not leaned on, but like they know they have to step up and help out to their best
Mhm.
of their abilities. It's one of those things where it's not so much like innocence is lost. It's a case of responsibilities gained. So it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, this is these are the sort of factoids of life, and I have to like do X, Y, and Z to make sure I can help out with like these like situations and make things that little bit better, easier for bit for yourselves, but also for their siblings they love. And it's
Yeah, she definitely steps up for sure. And I think she feels more expectation and
yeah,
responsibility on herself than even I put on her, just
yeah.
because she's such a sweetheart. And so I just try to mitigate that and make sure that she knows that, like, it's okay. Like, I'll take care of it as the parent, and you just be a kid. Like, please just be a kid. I want you to have fun. I want you to still have your childhood. But I am so grateful. She has really been a great help. Like, she helps all the time, and she does it with a smile, like she loves to play with her siblings and things like that. So it's a balance. It's kind of tricky, honestly.
I hear you. I hear you. I do have to ask, with your sister, like kind of in the same boat as yourself, like, yeah,
Mhm.
do you often team up to like take down the little rascals? Sorry, did I say that?
No, no, that's totally fine. She stepped up more than I have because she's my older sister by 12 years, and she has helped with my son a lot. He really adores her. And uh, we have this kind of funny joke. I'm actually the youngest in my family, and I'm like the most petite little, and like my sisters are tall, and we just have this joke like, why did God give the biggest kid? Because Isaac is like 120 pounds, like he's a big kid, to the smallest mom. Anyway, so she usually steps in when we're at family parties to like wrestle him and give him squishies and things like that to help his sensory, because he's too big for me. He really is too big. I can't handle him. And so she'll step in and kind of help out a lot. So she's been great, and she's honestly led the way for me. Without her, like, I would be lost. I'm so grateful that she was the one that pioneered through everything. And she's like, okay, you need to do this, go into early intervention, get on this, and I was like, okay, like, do, like, I know what to do. So I was really lucky, honestly, because she had to go through it all alone.
No, thank God. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm glad you've got a sister what can take down a 120-pound linebacker potentially.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, you're going down. Squishy time.
That's right. Oh,
Brilliant,
that's
brilliant.
funny.
Oh, like I have to ask, with regards to what you're doing now, you've like you've got a website, you've got like, which is a blog, and like, yes, you're doing podcasting, you have got a book out. Like, what is like raising awareness, one thing. What else? Is there other plans in the horizon for you?
Well, honestly, right now, I mean, I do want to write another book because my kids are still young, and I think there's still a lot to be said as they grow older and go through puberty, and we deal with different things.
Mm,
But after writing my first book and getting it out there, like it, I mean, I have a lot going on, obviously, and right now I'm kind of like taking a break from like the marketing side. So which is, it's not good because then book sales go down. But I think as a special needs mom, I just sometimes need to take a step back and be like, what's really important? My kids. So I'm letting the book kind of do its own thing, taking a break and trying to get things handled with my kids right now. Like I said, like we're dealing with different schools right now and medications. And so, yeah, I think sometimes I can make that time to like, okay, I'm going to market and I'm going to do all this stuff and like put myself out there, and it's great. And, help other people. And then other times I just need to say, like right now, okay, we're going to relax for a minute and just take a step back. And I think that's okay too.
it must be difficult because one of the things I can imagine you can get, well, it's easy to get caught up in a project you're working on and get
Mhm.
really excited about that. And
Yeah.
yeah, if you've entered that flow state, trying to like stay in that moment where, why, if you've got your kids about to like go, wait a second, I can't really go with it. How,
Yeah.
yeah, that's must be a tricky thing to like juggle at times, I imagine.
Oh yeah, it like every day it's just hard to juggle because sometimes I'm like, oh, I need to be on social media and doing all of these things. And
Mm,
I think it's fun. I love to do those kinds of things. But my family always is going to come first. And so, if my book doesn't reach a million people, I'm disappointed because I think it could help a million people.
mhm,
But at the same time, I'm like, I wrote the book, you know, because I'm having this experience and I need to continue having this personal experience where, I deal with my kids and I love them and spend time with them because they really do need my time, number one.
mm.
So
No, I hear you. I hear you. So with this and like, yeah, basically all of the like with your family in tow and everything like this, like it, when was the last time I have to know you took all of them on family vacation? Where was that last?
huh. Let's see. I think the last time we really went on a vacation was before my youngest was born, and Isaac was still physically manageable. We
Mhm.
went to Disneyland. So this was probably when Isaac was 4, I think,
Okay.
and I had barely had Eliza, so she was just a baby. And even with Isaac being 4 and Eliza being a baby, it was still a challenge. Disneyland was a bit crazy. And my daughter wants to go again, and me and my husband are like trying to gear up for it, like trying to mentally prepare, but it is just so hard to take Isaac out anywhere. Mostly what we do is we make life fun here at home. We
Mm.
buy bounce houses and playgrounds, and like we just do things fun here. We make a movie theater room so that we can watch movies and things like that. So yeah, we don't go on family vacations at all, really.
I have to say, when I was looking at like perusing your YouTube videos, which gave me
Yeah.
a moment or two of like, yes, funny moments. I was like, okay, this is why you're a character. Ah, the chocolates, the sweets. No, no, mother. Yes. Like, but yeah, okay. Uh, besides the goat, bah. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. She knows. She knows.
I do, I
Besides the
know.
goat, yeah, a 400 pound. pumpkin. Good.
Oh,
Where do you
yeah.
get a 400-pound pumpkin? Where do you purchase a 400-pound pumpkin from?
So my husband actually grew it, and my brother is actually a professional like pumpkin carver. Uh, yeah, he's awesome. And so he carved that pumpkin during COVID because usually he's super busy during October because he's going everywhere carving pumpkins, giant pumpkins, small pumpkins. But during COVID, like we got him. And so he came and he carved our pumpkin, and I was so excited.
I've learned so many new things today. A
I know.
professional pumpkin carver.
I know. There are people out there. It's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your husband grows giant pumpkins as well. Okay.
Sometimes that's like the only time he's grown a giant pumpkin, honestly. But he loves plants. He loves growing things. Can you see all these plants? Those are his.
Yeah, you know what? That's all good. Just make sure one of them's not a triffid. You'll be fine.
Okay, remember
Yeah.
that.
Oh, good God. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
450 pounds. Like, did you just carve it and did you eat any of it? Or was it just like, yeah, just carved and leave it?
No, he just carved it. We had fun, took lots of pictures. He actually, before it was carved, we entered it into a contest, and I think he got like third place for the heaviest pumpkin or something, you know. Um, but
How
then after
big were the
that,
other
we just
ones?
tossed. What
Okay.
was that?
How big were the other ones if you got third place?
They were bigger. Like there's people like do this for a living. Like October comes and they've got their pumpkins and they're just like huge and they're feeding them like milk and stuff, like anything to like it's serious, man. It's serious.
Okay. I, I'm glad your husband does not have this pumpkin obsession on the regular
No, he
basis.
doesn't.
He's like, hey, listen, what? I've got the seeds. Let's go. He's like, come on.
Like there's a black market for pumpkins.
A DEA comes breaking in, going, "What's going on here?" I'm just growing a pumpkin. It's all.
Oh man. Yeah, we got all kinds of stuff on the side here to, it's a
Mm,
circus around here.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Now, I have to ask if there was, like, if there was one sort of desire you could do, achieve, say, in the next year or so, what would that be?
Honestly, right now in my life, I want to be in a musical. That is my next goal. I know it's random, but I want to do it. I do. So that's my new thing.
Any particular musical?
No, no particular one. I love plays. I'm a nerd and I love plays and I want to be in one.
Okay. Now, what
Okay.
is your favorite play? Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one. I think right now, it changes, but right now I'm really in love with The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I really like that one. It's so good.
Do you sing the Disney songs on a regular basis from that?
No, but I like the Broadway songs better than the movie. Like I like the play better than the actual movie. I actually don't like the movie, to be honest. But I do like the play because I love the music. I love the music that Esmeralda sings, and yeah, but I like all kinds. Bright Star is a great one. It's lesser known, but I love that one. And I don't know, there's a lot of good ones out there.
Okay, okay. Like, if you could sing like, do a duet with someone, like, who would that be? Don't say Justin Timberlake because that'll be cheap and shallow. It's like,
Honestly, I don't know. Right now, I wish my husband would be more willing to be out there and sing because he can sing. And I'd love to do a duet with him, but he won't. He's just not out there like me. He's more reserved. We're opposites that attract.
I
So
see. Well, you
yeah.
could sing that Paul Abdul song. Yeah, yeah. Two steps forward, two steps back. We're like,
Yeah, yeah.
opposites attract. No, can't.
Mhm. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who I do a duet with. Hugh Jackman's pretty awesome. I don't know.
Well, maybe The Greatest Showman might be in your future. Yeah. I think your husband will be watching you like a hawk.
Probably.
So, who's this guy? Hey, stop it,
Yeah,
mister.
what's this? Yeah. Maybe that'll give him the motivation to want to do a duet with me then.
Maybe we shall see.
Yeah.
We shall
Mm.
see. Now, final question I have to ask. Now, if there was someone you could talk to, fictional, real, past, present, who would that person be?
Ooh, that is a good question. Oh, that is so hard. Probably, ooh, I don't know. This just came to me. I think somebody in my ancestral line that dealt with Fragile X that we don't know about. I'm wondering what it was like back then dealing with children with Fragile X and how they, just how they dealt with things as a carrier, not really knowing what was going on. I think that's interesting.
Yes, I think it would be. I think it might be a little bit more. How can I say? A little bit more arcane because
Oh yeah, they would probably, I'm sure that a lot of the children were put into different homes, things like that.
mm,
But it'd just be really interesting. And it'd be nice to know like how far back it went, what generations it skipped, like where did it really come from? Because we don't really know like the whole line. It starts with my dad and then we don't know where it goes past there. So yeah,
yeah. Mm, okay, okay. Mm.
there
Now
you go.
you know what, Kirsten? I got to say, it has been a pleasure having you on today. You have been a hoot and a holler, as they say out there. Yes, out in Utah, where I have no idea if they say that in Utah. No, at all.
We say all kinds of stuff. It works.
Oh, yeah. Now, can you tell the lovely people how they can find you out there on these interwebs?
Oh, yes. Visit KirstenFowler.com and you can get my book off there. There's a link actually to my Amazon. So if you go on Amazon, you can find my book, Family, Faith, and Fragile X. You can also look me up on Facebook and Instagram as Kirsten Fowler.
Yes, go out there, my friends, my life warriors. Track her down. Not in that man hunting way, that would be wrong. But yes, go track her down on the interwebs. Buy her book, sign up to it. She is a decent chapette. Yeah, have a good laugh. Yeah. So I'd like to say thank you to, yes, you, Kirsten, for coming on today. You have been a star, a scholar, a delight to have.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was so fun.
No worries, no worries. And I'd like to say thank you to you, my friends, my life warriors, for coming, listening to the show up until this point. Please stay well, stay safe, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic. Be all the positive bees you can be in this world and then some. Have a great day, guys. Peace. And we are.